Good evening, good evening, good morning, good late night, whatever you want to call this. It's almost 2 in the morning here. Welcome to the Pitt Game Day postgame show with you. I'm Mason Sepeski, your host. Tonight we will be recapping the Pitt North Carolina game. The Pitt Panthers lost tonight by a final score of 41-24, although the final score was not really that indicative of how the game was the whole way throughout. I mean, yes, a loss is a loss. Yes, a 41-24 loss does suck, but this game was actually very competitive the whole most of the game, to be honest with you, until the second half. So let's begin here with the first quarter. Phil Dracovic was booed heavily tonight. And by the way, it was an interesting game for me, for sure, to say the least. I was able to get down in the lower bowl the past couple times. The last two times had to go into the overflow area because the lower part of Acrisure, our main student section, was already filled. This week, though, I was able to get down into the lower bowl, which was surprising but very cool to be able to get down there. I'm hopefully going to be able to get down there more next year, and if maybe things continue to go south the rest of this year, I might be able to get down there much more. This year I do have some videos to share from the game. I did not make a vlog this time though because it was raining. I was thinking about making a vlog this time, but I did not make a vlog because it was raining, but I did get some videos of some good things from the game, and I will be posting those onto my YouTube as well, so you can keep an eye out for those. But I was not one of the people doing this, but we were booing Phil Jerkovic really bad in the student section during warm-ups. We booed him when he came out, but he responded very well to the boos. He actually played very well tonight, if you ask me, for my honest opinion. But he played very well tonight. Sorry I said that 3 times. Had a good first series. Took us down the field for a touchdown, made it 7-0. UNC then responded right back. Drake May with a touchdown, make it 7-7. Then the Panthers made it 14-7. Then we stopped them. Then we got stopped, and it was just got back and forth at that point. Then UNC got a touchdown, 14-14. UNC then later in the second quarter returned a kick, 21-14. Then I think that's when Jerkovic, was it then? I don't know, but no, it wasn't, because we got stopped. Then UNC scored another touchdown to make it 28-14, I think. Then it was 28-17, and then right before half, we kicked a field goal to make it 28-17. Then before the half, Jerkovic got hurt on a bad targeting play or a bad play, and then at that point, the Christian Valu, our backup, the kid who's sophomore, transferred from Penn State, got in, had a nice play, but it was 28-17 going into the half. And then Carolina got then to be in the third quarter. I'm sorry if I'm rambling on. It sounds really weird and all that, I know, but I'm just tired and I'm getting ready for bed, so that's why I'm not sounding my best. Don't feel like it's because we lost or anything. It's just I don't sound my best because I'm ready to go to bed. But yeah, then Carolina drove the field first drive. They made it 35-17 and just got bad from there. I mean, we made it 35, or then it was like 48-17. Then we had that 100-yard kick return, which was one of the better moments of the night, to make it 38-24. Carolina then kicked a field goal to make it 41-24. And then there was a point where Carolina fumbled the ball to us, and we fumbled the ball right back to them. And then fast forward a little bit, and the game ended with a final score of UNC 41, Pitt 24. Just a couple of takeaways from this game. Takeaway number one, Phil Dracovic did a good job tonight, I think. It was unfortunate that he got hurt when he was playing his best ball. This was arguably his best game of the year. Definitely his best game of the year. Even though we won, I wasn't impressed at all with him in the Wofford game. I was even less impressed in the Cincy game, and the West Virginia game was horrible. This here, it seemed like if you rate things on a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being awful, 10 being great, week 1 I would have probably given Phil Dracovic a solid 6. 2 I would have given him a 4. 3 I would have given him a 1. Tonight I actually, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would have given him a solid 9. So he went up from 1 to 9 in 1 week. Maybe they did have a good week of practice after all, but I was impressed by him tonight, to be honest. So yeah, I don't think he was the issue tonight. I'm going to get into what I do believe was the issue tonight, though, in a minute. Sorry to take a drink there of my water. Here's what I think the issue was tonight. Number 1, team discipline. I know we believed some of those calls were rigged, and there were a lot of bad calls. There's been a lot of bad calls these past 2 weeks. However, between all the calls last week in our loss in Morgantown and all the calls this week in this loss, I think the issue goes beyond the refs. To be honest with you guys, I think the issue comes back to Coach Narduzzi needing to instill more discipline in this team, because you can't be committing all those penalties. There were a lot of consequences from penalties, such as the fact that it made situations we could have got out of more manageable, where Carolina got the first down. Carolina didn't have to punt hardly at all tonight, so that's not a good thing at all. So, and that's disappointing, to say the least. In that regard, I'm disappointed about that. And it seems like WVU, Cincinnati, none of them really had to punt. Not many teams have had to punt against us, which is very upsetting, to be honest with you. And it just shows that, there's a problem with this defense. I think the defense, they played very well last week in Morgantown, but this week I was not impressed by our defense. And the second point, before I get into point 2, point 1, how to fix point 1 is, how I would fix it is just maybe during practice, and I'm not trying to tell Coach Narduzzi what to do at all, just trying to help and offer ways that maybe you could cut back the penalties and maybe prevent these situations from coming up. But I think during practice, a good way to do this is to just, and it's hard though during practice to correct penalties. It's very hard too, because what I was about to say though was maybe during practice, like when you're doing your live scrimmages and stuff, have the reps come in, throw flags and stuff like that to maybe catch the flags early, catch what penalties you're making early, so that they don't transfer from the practice field onto the game. However, except for live scrimmages or in practice scrimmages, it's very hard to know what's going on. I mean, I think it's tough to know, it's tough to make sure you guys don't commit a lot of penalties in the game. But I didn't see WVU or North Carolina commit a lot these past 2 weeks, so I don't know. I think there needs to be more discipline instead of some things. So I think discipline would be a good place to start in terms of that. Number 2, I think the injuries were a problem tonight on the defense for sure. Every single play, like Carolina and stuff, got a first down. It seemed like somebody was getting injured. It seemed like every couple plays, fortunately, someone was getting injured, and that's been an issue largely. And I mean, it feels like we're on a lot of our backups right now, unfortunately, and that's partly why the team is struggling. I mean, if we had all our starters, we were 100% healthy and everything, and we played with more of an urgency. I mean, and don't get me wrong, we played with a huge sense of urgency tonight, and it showed the whole game. But if we maybe played a little harder and we had all our starters at full strength in that, I think we would have possibly been able to win this football game. believe it or not. So I didn't see Kamara much on the field. I think he might be hurt. I don't know his full story, to be honest with you, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad McIntyre, Devin Sauer, them all, on the defense, Hammond, Means, and what's the other one's name? Mumfield, Bartholomew as well. I'm glad they all have been able to stay healthy this year because that's important. I don't think the line looked bad tonight. And the way to fix injuries is there's really no way to fix injuries. I mean, they're going to happen. They're inevitable. So you just have to live with it and make sure your backups are right. And it won't be a bad idea, though. One way, though, you can maybe control injuries, or you're not going to fix injuries at all. But one way you can lessen the harm that an injury causes is that maybe each player on the second team, 1 day a week, runs practice with the first team offense and the first team defense, and maybe switch it up. So, like, you won't have the second team running first team, you won't have the first team running second team. Just maybe put 2 or 3 second team players a day into the first team offense for like 20-25 minutes, maybe a half hour. I'm sorry, of practice. And then during practice, I mean, that's an easy way to get them that first team experience in practice. So yeah, I mean, I think that would help. That's really all you could do in that regard. Now, into the other thing I'm going to just say about is the quarterback situation, obviously. One thing is this. I mean, I think as Pitt fans, we should probably apologize to Phil Jurkovec. I think we were wrong in booing Phil. Christian Valou, it was disappointing to watch him tonight because I think that he did have some nice plays, but I think though that he has a long way to go. It was surprising to see him not do as well tonight. I mean, Valou was recruited to go to Penn State. He originally, as I've said multiple times on this show, he was a Penn State commit. He was so obviously if he's a Penn State commit and he was on a Penn State football team for a year, he was obviously recruited by James Franklin, who is a very good recruiter, to go to Penn State. So that means Valou is obviously good or something special coming out of high school. Here, let me look it up real quick, see if I can find it. I know Jurkovec was extremely over-the-top talented in high school because he went to Pine Ridge. I got to see him on TV. I loved watching Phil Jurkovec in high school, and I hope that he did well all along. And tonight, he was the better quarterback, for sure. Here, let me look this up for you guys real quick. High school recruiting. Sorry, I'm just trying to see. Okay, this is 24/7 Sports. This one's a pretty accurate one. He was a 3-star prospect out of Potomac, Maryland. He was only 3 stars. He enrolled in Penn State. He was offered by Arizona State, Boston College, Buffalo, and Clemson. And he picked Penn State over all those. He ultimately transferred to Pitt. So this kid, obviously, he was recruited by both James Franklin and Dabo Swinney. He was a 3-star recruit. While he may only have been a 3-star recruit, if you're recruited by those 2 people, those 2 individuals, you're a pretty doggone talented football player, if you ask me. So Valou was obviously talented coming out of high school. He didn't look talented at all tonight. He went 6 for 16. That's not good. That is less than 50%. Look at Phil Jurkovec. He went 11 for 15. If he would have stayed in the game, you could have easily multiplied that by 2 because he would have played the whole second half, adding 1 because he would have probably got 1 more pass attempt. the first half before he got hurt. So multiply 11 by 15, you get 22 out of 30, plus 123 out of 31. Drake May in the game was 21 for 28. He would have probably finished with the same statistics, Phil Jerkovic, as Drake May. And Drake May had a very, very good night tonight. I remember an announcer, they compared him to Patrick Mahomes. And I saw a lot of Patrick Mahomes tonight and Drake May. The left-handed touchdown pass when he's a right-handed passer, that's special. He is so mobile, so athletic, so talented. I mean, I haven't done my evaluations yet, obviously, for the draft for next year. I'm working on it, but it wouldn't surprise me if my rankings show Drake May to be ranked higher than Caleb Williams. No, don't get me wrong, Caleb Williams is amazing, and he's going to be a really good NFL player. He'll definitely, most likely, 75% chance, be better than Drake May in the NFL. I think these both are going to be very good NFL quarterbacks, Williams and May. I think all in all, this is a loaded quarterback draft class because you also have Quinn Ewers out of Texas, Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington, who's been really good this year, Bo Nix out of the University of Oregon. I don't think Shedor's going to declare because I don't think Coach Prime wants him to declare. Speaking of bad, if you think Pitt was bad today, look at Colorado. They got annihilated by Oregon. This was a little upsetting, to be honest with you, but I expected Oregon to win, but I'm disappointed it was this bad. So it shows you while Dion and his team have done an impressive job with Colorado, they still have a long ways to go. It's so hard to build an elite college football program in a short amount of time. I give 3 people all the credit in the world. And they're all going to sound very similar when I get to why I give them all the credit in the world. Person number 3 is Lincoln Riley, head coach of the USC Trojans. Person number 2 is Caleb DeBoer, head coach of the Washington Huskies. And finally, person number 1 is Mike Norvell, head coach of the Florida State Seminoles. Here's why I give those 3 people all the credit in the world. In 2021, when we were 10-2, 11-2, 11-3, whatever you want to consider it, guess what these 3 programs were? They were each 5-7. 2022, these 3 men began their first year on their jobs. They all, I think, got quarterbacks out of the transfer portal. I just want to confirm Jordan Travis did indeed come out of the transfer portal. Jordan Travis. Looks like he did. Yeah, he did. He went to Louisville, but he transferred before, he's a redshirt senior, so he transferred before that, but, I want to see how long Mike Norvell's been at Florida State. Norvell has been there since 2020. Believe it or not, he was actually Pitt's co-offensive coordinator in 2011. But anyway, yeah. So this is why I give these 3 people all the credit in the world. They were 5-7. 2 out of 3 of them got quarterbacks from the transfer portal before last year, 2022, being Caleb Williams and Michael Penix Jr. All of them now are combined, are 4-0, 5-0, whatever you want to consider it. That's why it's so hard to have a good college football team in a short amount of time. But yet it's so easy. Look at TCU last year, went from 5-7 to 11-1. Quick turnarounds in this sport are possible if you have the right people leading it. So who knows what will happen to this Pitt team? Who knows if they're going to be 5-7, 4-8 this year? I definitely don't think they're going to a bowl game this season. I don't see a path to 6 wins, unfortunately. And I think it's probably best off that we don't go to a bowl game this year, to be honest with you. I'm sorry I'm saying this, but I don't think it's in the program's best interest, to be honest. If there's not enough teams with 6 wins and our academic progress rating or whatever it's called sends us to a bowl game, then I would probably decline it. Just because I it's up to the team obviously, but bowls are privileged for 6-win teams. I don't think we're a 6-win team this year. I think we'll be a 6-win team over the next several years, but I think we need to do something right and something fast to get there. I have faith in Pat Narduzzi. I hope if we do finish 4-8 and 5-7 this year, I hope Pat Narduzzi is the guy that'll get us from 5-7 to 11-1. And I hope Pat Narduzzi is the coach that helps us win the ACC championship for us next year on my birthday. But I think we need to truly evaluate everything this offseason. I mean, don't get me wrong, Pat Narduzzi has done a very good job. But I think that this offense, obviously, except for tonight, prior to tonight, it has not clicked at all this season. And unfortunately, the fact that when it did click tonight, the defense, unfortunately, did not click. So I think that we need to look at something. I mean, Falu obviously is good. Franklin recruited him. Transfers here, he did not look good tonight. So maybe the problems are Frank Signetti Jr. And I'm not trying to throw him under the bus either. But one thing that should change, and this is just my opinion, I'm not telling Pitt to do anything at all, but one thing that I would change if I were Narduzzi is he says he spends 85% of the time with the defense at practice and stuff. I think he should maybe monitor and spend more time with the offense, because obviously he knows what makes a good offense, because he has to for his job on the defense. So he should probably spend more time, maybe balance it out more, maybe 65-35 or even the ideal 50-50, so that we can have a better offense. Because like I said, Kalen DeBoer and Lincoln Riley, they've done good at USC and Washington respectively because they're offensive minds. Same with Norvell at Florida State. I think once Narduzzi, because Narduzzi has done a good job, I think once Narduzzi decides to start spending more time maybe with the offense, then I think that's when things will start to get better. I think Pitt football really does miss Mark Whipple a lot. I don't know obviously Matt Canada had that good year with Pitt in 2016. If the Steelers do decide to part ways with him, I don't know how much of a fan I would be with him going to Pitt. I probably wouldn't, because he's been a train wreck with the Steelers. My ideal person, obviously, for our offensive coordinator position, and I know he really likes Pitt a lot because he drafted Pitt cornerback last year when he was the head coach of the Broncos, and he drafted a Pitt tackle and a Pitt running back this year when he was offensive coordinator of the Jets, and his dad was the head coach at Pitt. I still think if the Jets fall off the train this year and they clean house with their GM and their coach and their offensive coordinator gets fired at the Jets, I don't think Nathaniel Hackett would be a bad hire for this job. In fact, I think Nathaniel Hackett would be my ideal choice for this job. I think he's a really good, I like his designs a lot. I like his offense a lot. It was unfortunate that it didn't work with Russell Wilson, but as we see now, the Broncos are 0-2, and their problems go far beyond Nathaniel Hackett, if you could not tell already from their struggles this year without Hackett. Remember this, Sean Payne. The Broncos started 0-2 under you this year, and the Broncos started 1-1 under Hackett last year. So, as of now, Nathaniel Hackett has more Denver Broncos wins than you, Sean Payne. Keep that in mind, buddy. But I think Hackett would be the ideal choice for this job should it become open. I don't know. I mean, I think if we get Hackett in there, I think he'd design a really good offense and he'd be able to actually do things and make the most out of the opportunity. And if we could get him, I think we could possibly be a team next year. They could possibly be 9-3, 10-2, 11-1, competing for possible more than an ACC championship. It's gonna come sooner rather than later. We have to be patient as Panther fans. And everyone says I wouldn't want to be Pitt because the conference is getting tougher. How is the ACC getting tougher? Stanford's gonna be like 3-9, 2-10 this year. Cal Berkeley's gonna be like 4-8 this year. And what's SMU gonna be? 5-7, 6-6, 7-5 in the American Athletic Conference. Maybe SMU will be competitive, but other than them, how is this conference getting tougher? It's not getting tougher. By getting tougher, I hope you mean not those three schools. I hope you mean schools more like the fact that Miami is going to be competitive, the fact that UNC may be competitive, the fact that Florida State is going to be competitive, Clemson, maybe NC State, Louisville, Georgia Tech's on the rise. Wake Forest, nah. Virginia Tech, nah. Virginia, nah. Boston College, nah. Syracuse will be good too, so I'll give them credit. But please tell me you're talking about those programs, not the San Francisco ones. Please. Because if you're talking about those people, then I don't know. But really, next year, college football is going to look so much different. It's going to be so much harder to predict next year than this year was. Enjoy this while it lasts. It's unfortunate that in the last year of college football, this era of college football, as we know it, that Pitt's not going to be in a bowl game, and that when Pitt season ends this year, so will Pitt's role in this area in college football. And obviously college football is going to get tougher, but that's truly what makes you or breaks you. As we're always taught in my first year seminar class for college, rough seas make good sailors, but rough seas also kill sailors. This quote is important because it tells you the meaning. If you're good sailing rough seas, then if you're good dealing with challenges, then you're reliable and you're truly good with a lot of things. However, challenges can also kill you and bring you down. It's how you respond to them and handle them that defines you. And once the season concludes, the way that Pitt responds to this new era of college sports will make them and define them. I truly think things are going to get better for Pitt after this year. However, the question is how will they get better? It's not going to be with Phil Jurkovec, not because he didn't do good the past couple weeks, but because his time is up and he's going to be entering the workforce. Because I highly doubt he's going to be on an NFL roster next year. So he'll be working a 9-to-5 job or whatever his major, whatever jobs are available for people with the degree he's going to be earning this spring. It's Christian Valu's program, or Julian Duggar, kid from Penn Hills, who I like a lot. It's going to be one of those two that lead this program in the future. If Valu's not the answer, Duggar needs to be. The road ahead will be interesting, and I'll be right here for you with it. We're near half an hour, and I'm very much so ready to go to bed. That's all I have for you guys tonight. Hope you enjoyed. We will see you next week for the game in Blacksburg, Virginia, against the Virginia Tech Hokies. Like Pitt, the Hokies are not very good either. They lost today to Marshall in Huntington, West Virginia, 24-17. I truly think this is a winnable game. This will be an exciting game. Hopefully things are a little better next week on the Pitt Game Day post game. So when we recap that one, That'll definitely be an interesting one. It's actually my first pick game of the year I am not going to be honest with you, because it's away this time, and who wants to travel 8 hours to Blacksburg to watch a game that we might lose? I think it's going to be interesting for sure, but I mean, yeah, I mean, hopefully they have a good week of practice, because if we can win this one, there's still a prayer at Bald's ability. If we lose this game, then we need to start playing underclassmen and prepping for next year. That's my take. Anyway, I'll see you next Saturday when we preview the game for the Pitt Game Day pregame show, when we preview Pitt's tilt in Blacksburg with the Hokies. I will see you right back here next week for my Pitt Game Day football postgame show when we recap Pitt and Virginia Tech. Hopefully next week we have a happier show with a better outcome. That's all I have for you guys tonight. In the meantime, enjoy this week. Have a good one. Stay safe out there. And as always, like I conclude all my videos, peace.